Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's his story. Hello, Ollie. I hope this letter finds you well. Please keep me anonymous. Thank you again for your channel and insight. Lately, you have had a lot of viewers writing in about their mothers, and as you remember, I have written about mine. Oh yeah, that dead-eyed fucking boomer cunt. That dead-eyed lying boomer cunt. Yeah, I remember. But today is going to be a lot more difficult for me to write because of the nature of the memories. I aim to keep the entire story today focused mostly on my mother and the sexual nature of her abuse. Again, this is very difficult. Not fun, and I am looking forward to your take on the situation. I have no contact with her. I have not spoken to her since telling her she was a fucking lying asshole when she had the nerve to call me again, like she's never done a thing wrong again last Christmas. Boomers. There are several incidents that I can clearly recall that are disturbing to me. For some reason, they used to just be memories, like they happened to someone else, but as I continue no contact with her and the other monsters, things just come back. There is one incident in particular that I'm saving for last because it is the most confusing memory I have. Flashback to 4-year-old boy, and I'm having to take a stand-up shower with my cigarette-smoking, whiskey-swilling grandmother. I always hated her. And that was the other thing. That's another thing. Not only was it all right for them to be naked in front of you, it was all right for you to be naked in front of anybody they said it was okay to be naked in front of. Your grandparents, oh, it's your grandma. I don't care who the fuck it is. Oh, that's what. I always hated when she would try to get a hello or goodbye kiss from her as she stunk like a bowling alley, which reminds me they were on a bowling team. Lets you know the caliber of people we're dealing with. Anyway, it grossed me out and I didn't want to have to shower with nasty old woman. Just the sight of old naked body made me cringe. She appeared like a chamois used to wipe your car off. Yeah, so basically, yeah, you're being fucking bathed by the old woman from The Shining. Yeah. Was that the bathroom was in? Was it in room 237? Don't go into room 237. Don't go into room 237. The narcissist turns every room into room 237, don't they? Don't they? We all have a room 237, don't we? Because of the narcissist. Anyway, it grossed me out and I didn't want to have to shower with nasty old woman. Okay. Absolutely terrifying for a small child to have to witness. In and of itself, probably traumatizing. Still remember it to this day. But this is only the beginning of what I'm about to tell you. I do not remember if any instances happened more than once. Just an odd memory here and there of my mother acting in what I think is inappropriate ways. Not to mention that my older sister had made comments referring to my private area in an attempt to shame me. She was 15 and I was 5. Most 5-year-olds are not well endowed. Oh my God. Really? Really? But it's the kind of comments that you heard every so often in the home. Oh, my mother used to talk about, and here's the thing. My mother would talk about, and it was the other member of the I team, Anita, her son's endowment at like 7, 8 years old, how big it was. Like, more boomer degenerates. That's just something with that whole goddamn generation. They liked their degeneracy. They like it. Being the youngest of a very large family of drunks, alcoholics, and now I am thinking child abusers, never did occur to me the way it is occurring now. Again, your thoughts are appreciated. Because you're being raised in it. So you don't give it a second thought. And the reason why you weren't thinking about it, you were kind of putting it out of your mind, is because when you were still in contact with her, is because you had to. Don't think about it or somebody's going to fucking die. Because if you had to think about it now, with that old fucking cunt, and I know your mother, I saw what she looks like because of other things we've done together. I don't know, man. It's probably for her benefit, really. I grew up in the 70s, born in the late 60s, just after the goddamn hippie revolution, and those attitudes were prevalent in my mother's side of the family. Degenerate filth, most of them are dead, good riddance. Anyway, her half-brother, my uncle, repeatedly would find humor in stripping me naked and leaving me outside or partially undressed, and sometimes in full view of other adults. It was such an entertaining thing for him. My mother, nor my father, ever once defended me. As I write this, neither one of those goddamn motherfuckers ever defended me one time from this abuse. Every time I cried to them about it, my mother would tell me they teased, abused me because they loved me. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they only do it because they like you. They only do it because they love you. Fuck off. Love me less. Love me less, you degenerate cunt. And then when you confront her on it, she'll be like, I don't understand why you're saying this to me. I don't, if that's what you say happened. I know your mother. I remember your fucking mother vividly. Vividly. Your mother deserves a spinning back kick to the fucking solar plexus. I remember not trying to sound poetic here. I remember hating the word love. Me too, man. Associating the word with some terrible behavior. It's not even that. It's the emotion. For me, it was the emotion behind it. It was any type of feeling. I tried to keep my feelings so empty. I tried to stay so empty for so long so you don't feel anything. I didn't want to feel anything because all I knew really was mostly pain. And any joy that I had was immediately taken away from you. So why have it? Like you learn at a very early age to stay empty, to try to stay empty emotionally. That way you can't be hurt by anything. Even your moments of joy, you are knowing this is going to be taken away from you. Anyway, this shitbag shot himself in the head years ago. I hope he's in hell where he belongs. He was a constant source of abuse over and over again. But this letter is supposed to be more about my mother than her fucked up family. So on to some fuzzy memories. One time I remember I was playing on the floor in my mother's closet, and when I turned around, I don't know if she was dressing or undressing, but she was in nothing but a bra and hose. She was sitting on the bed and asked me if I wanted to kiss her. I had to answer, you think I'm prettier than Grandma, right? I'm better looking than Grandma, right? I think I was 6. I don't know. Something I just didn't feel right about it, and it just doesn't feel right as I write this down now. It's hard to tell if that is a true abuse instance or if I'm just making it up. I just want to be very clear about these things because dishonesty doesn't help anyone when trying to make sense of abuse. I'm thinking your intentions were not motherly, which is just disgusting. It's just their degeneracy taking over. They want you to desire them. They want son husbands. They want their boys to be son husbands. Baby boomer mothers, that's their number one thing, is to turn them into son husbands, is to be sexualize their sons. They want to anyway, emotionally sexualized, mentally sexualized, physically sexualized. They're all about it. It's this need to be wanted. It's this need to be wanted by every man, including their sons. And if they can't get their sons, who they have absolute 100% control, to love them like that, how are they going to get anybody else to do it? That's what goes on in their fucking crazy heads. Another memory I have is looking up very young, even as an infant, seeing both of my parents naked. I don't think this was an abusive incident, but it's odd. I brought it up to her, and of course she said this never happened, or maybe it was innocent and she forgot. I don't know, but I'm a little bit worried that maybe my parents were trying to make sure that I understood something about sex. Early impressions, again, I don't want to read anything into the memory that's not there. I'm sure you saw it. Dude, they're just degenerates. They do it without even thinking. They do it because their friends do it, because that's what the whole generation's about. Sometimes during my teen years, my mother would just announce out loud that she thought I was full of testosterone. I'm not sure why she would bring this into the conversation, but I recall hearing this many times during my preteens as well. Dude, you just don't want to, you see, I think you just don't want to have to admit that this is what your mother was about. Of all the bad things your mother is, I don't think you're I think you're just coming to the point where you're ready to accept this about your mother. On top of everything else that's fucked up about her. I just don't know what the hell it had to do with anything. It didn't. Other than she sees you, and why don't you want her? It's jealousy. But there she was saying, sometimes the family, sometimes the neighbors, etc. Not sure why that would be a topic. That is not to mention the shopping bags full of pornography my father had under his side of the bed, under the seat in his truck, bags full in the hall closets, more of them in the garage. The first picture I saw of penetration was in one of his magazines in the garage. Writing this makes me sick. I think I was about 8 or 9 years old. Wish he didn't have those accessible to me. Understand I'm not against grown-ups having access to things they understand, but definitely not kids. I think he left them for me to see on purpose. I have an idea as to why he would leave them on purpose, but I'd like to hear what you think. I think they're just such degenerates. They don't care. They didn't care. These are people that decided they're gonna buck the system and they could do whatever the fuck they want. Free love, free sex, nudity, dive in the mud, do all the drugs you want. It's a me generation. They didn't have time to think about adverse effects on you. They were too busy trying to ruin society. Ruin the society that was handed to them on a silver platter. So it might not have been like a plan. Yeah, I'm going to show this so, my young son could find it. Yeah. I don't think that's your father's motivation. I don't think he gave a fuck enough to hide it. He just didn't. Pornography is just like, after Woodstock and the free love and all that, pornography was their continuation of Woodstock. That's all it is. That's really what it is. Pornography ended up being the boomers' continuation of Woodstock. More free love, and you can't tell me what to do, and what are you so up fucking tight for? We're all girls here. We're all boys here. We're all family here. That's all it is. A continuation of that rat mud-infested hippie fest. Boomers. Well, this is not solely about my mother after all. Trying not to digress here. Trying not to digress. But there is so much bullshit to comb through. Things just come up as I type this. Anyway. Many times she would just burst into my room unannounced, I think, hopes of seeing me engaged in private matters. This became more and more of a problem, at least until the age I could drive. I was always it was always an accident that she would barge into my room. I think now she was trying to get a perverted glimpse of me. Fuck yeah, she was. Because she's the one that wanted you to lust after her. Okay? So like a flower child dancing topless in the mud, you got your mother, the flower child, basically trying to fucking do some acid dance in your room to seduce you. Your father just carrying on with his pornography. They're both just carrying on with hippie fest. With you know, the pinnacle of boomerism. I don't know if my situation is really that bad. On one hand, I have everything I needed. My parents always paid the bills, etc. I know, broken plate, but no one is perfect. But why do I feel such rage at both my mother and father, but especially my mother? At some points I have fantasized about paying her back for her abuse in brutal ways. Of course that would never happen. Yeah, join the club, man. Why? Just because... Understand something. It wasn't hard for the boomers to give you a decent life. They had everything fucking handed to them on the silver platter. Everything. Their houses were cheap. The cars were cheap. I mean, come on, man. It wasn't hard. It really wasn't hard for them. Stop giving these fucking people credit for anything. And I know it's not all of you. It's 85 to 90% of you. I know there's some good ones. It wasn't that hard for them. Not like us. Not like us, and not like the millennials, and not like what the new generations are going to have to deal with. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. It wasn't hard for them to give us what we needed. And they barely did that. Another good reason to stay no contact. No narc is worth prison. A way to settle the score, maybe. Again, I don't know if I'm overreacting or not. These things didn't happen all the time. It doesn't matter. If you're worried about it now, at your age, you're not overreacting. If you're having problems with it now, with your mother out of your life for 4 years, okay, it's a bigger problem than you thought it was. It's absolutely a problem. Because now is the time you're getting your clarity. Without the fog of her trying to gaslight you, making you think things aren't what they are. Now it's only you. And what your subconscious is like, hey, stupid. Remember? That's what's going on. That's what's going on. Your subconscious is like, you got to deal with this. You got to deal with this. Bitch is out of your life. That's why it's coming out. I go back around... If I go back to around 4 years of age, I also recall serious bedwetting problems and playing with a playing with fire problem. My mother took me to the doctor for the bedwetting, and I had me on some regimen where I had to pee in a Pyrex measuring cup. Oh, great. She would make me do this in the living room or on the entryway of the house. Not sure why it couldn't have been private. Of course it could have been. But she would hold my, well, you know, while I did it. Dude, you were so abused and you just need to face it. The reason you were wetting the bed is because you had your grandmother from room 237 of The Shining, okay, scrubbing you in the bathroom. Your mother's barging into your private, like you had anxiety, bathroom anxiety. You had, like, and of course she thrilled on, you know, she thrived on it because it's another fucking excuse to touch your fucking dick, dude. Maybe because I was too young to do this myself. Again, clear honesty is important to understanding. Maybe it was nothing. It wasn't nothing. Maybe it was something. Maybe an opportunity. Going back, this far, I am also certain that I knew what oral sex was, as I was 4 years old and almost tried it with their close friend's daughter, who was also 4 years old. We were caught playing doctor several times and both beaten for it. And mind you, the beatings were not light. It is possible that kids can have those ideas without being shown. No. 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 Not to excuse the beating, but it seemed unlikely. I just don't know how I would have known at 4 years old. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have. I really don't think that there are that many instances. I have a pretty good memory. All these things happened before preteen, so it's possible I don't remember them all. I said I was saving one for the last, so here it goes. My mother would tuck me in at night, pretty much every night. One time I remember some kind of routine we had, but I don't remember the routine, if that makes sense. I don't know if it was out of the ordinary, except one time. We had a short discussion that I was too old, able to tell on her about something she did to me. I asked her if she would do it again, but I just don't know what it was. I intuitively knew whatever could be mistaken for something bad. Whatever it was could be mistaken for something bad. I am the one that mentioned I was maybe too old for that now. I have racked my brain over and over. I recall the conversation vividly, but not actually what the thing was. It's frustrating. Like I said, I don't want to make things up. I think only a clear accounting will help us recover from these things. But I don't know what it was she was doing. One more thing, and this is crystal clear. I remember it correctly. Right after I said that and we said goodnight, she put her hands under my covers. Again, remember, I'm 4 years old, and she, in a very seductive way, had her hands on my legs, nothing else. I said, "Mommy, what are you doing?" She sighed, didn't say a word, and left my room. Seriously, these are the facts. Is it possible I'm making too big a deal of this? On one hand, I hate the bitch so much for so many things. I hope it's true. It would explain a lot of the rage. On the other, I don't want it to be true on the other hand, I don't want it to be true for any reason. It's confusing. As always, your thoughts are appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's true. It makes everything that happened and that you do remember about your childhood, the bedwetting, the playing doctor, like the oral sex. Dude, this is sexual abuse, and any therapist that you would tell this to would tell you the same thing. And the reason it's coming up now is because of the no contact. You gotta understand, your parents are just boomer degenerates. And the point, like the pornography and all this, it's all just an extension of, it's like an extension of Woodstock. So what a generation. What a generation. I hope that helps. Thank you so much, Anonymous, for another contribution and story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to have a private video made, sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general, keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance. Take care.